Is there a daycare that's operated from here? There's not a daycare? Oh, did you used to have a daycare here?
No.
There's kids here now? Oh, none today? So I was trying to find out if this was a home daycare.
I don't have time to talk to you right now. I'm so busy.
I've not had a chance to take a look at that. I will after the call.
Hi, my name's Carlene. I'm a reporter. I was trying to find out, is there a daycare here? We found millions in taxpayer dollars going to alleged home daycare providers across Washington state. But when we went to those addresses on multiple occasions, we found little to no evidence of daycare activity. In one case, a location that received more than $200,000 told us there was no daycare there at all. Was there a daycare, we asked, here in the past? The answer was no. Is there a daycare that's operated from here?
No.
There's not a daycare?
No.
Oh, did you used to have a daycare here?
No.
No? Okay. I was trying to find out if there was a daycare operation here.
Huh?
If there was a daycare
No,
here on this property. At this location, records show more than $200,000 in payments over 9 months. And updated figures on a government website show the facility is continuing in 2026 to receive monthly payments of between $20,000 and $28,000 just in the last few months. At another address receiving significant funding, we were told there were no children there that day. Oh, hi there. Hi, I'm a reporter. I have just been investigating some of the daycare operations in the area. Do you have a home daycare here? Huh? You do? Are you watching children today? Are you watching children today? The daycare here? Okay. There's kids here now? Oh, none today? But other days you do have kids here? At this address, 2 daycare providers using the same address received more than $1.3 million in taxpayer subsidies over a 9-month period. But when we visited, there were no visible signs of childcare activity. One of the daycares received on average more than $20,000 per month from December through March of 2026. The other childcare facility received anywhere from $72,000 to $122,000 between December of 2025 and March of 2026. Now, according to the Office of State Auditor Pat McCarthy, there is no confirmed fraud, but she does acknowledge serious gaps in oversight.
We haven't seen any evidence of fraud. But we're still in the process of doing the audit.
Now, according to the state auditor, over $413 million in child care payments could not be fully tracked. About $37 million in payments in 2025 alone were flagged as questionable. Now, many providers failed to provide required attendance records, making it difficult to verify how these funds were fully used. Many of them are receiving, hundreds of thousands of dollars over a few months' time in subsidies. So
have you reported that to DCYF or reported
here's the thing. It's not my job. It's right there, publicly accessible information. So I would say if you're auditing these large payouts, it would make sense. It's easy to see. You go to childcare find the address or the name of the provider. Then you go to fiscal.wa.gov, type in the name of the provider, and boom, it comes up and shows, wow, he got $250,000 in 5 months last year. And it shows he cares for 6 kids at his home.
If you have a concern, there are people that you can give that information to. Give it, send it to us. You have a credible incidence, send it to us on our Hotmail line.
Publicly reporting it. I didn't put the physical house number on there.
One thing, I'm struggling with this because I think people are jumping to conclusions because of this.
With all due respect, this doesn't look well on your office. You're doing the audit right now. I'm happy to send you the fiscal.wa.gov screenshots that show a home daycare provider that's licensed for 9, shows he's got 6 openings, so 3 kids maybe, even if he's getting the max taxpayer subsidy if you've got babies, that's $2,200 a month. If you have
that concern, you should be sending it to DCYF.
And you should be investigating it, should you not? Honestly, the people are...
It's not... We don't investigate. I mean,
who does that?
We would have received the information But we are not going, we, the auditor's office, do not physically visit
But if you're doing an
childcare.
audit right now, Adam, of these providers, why not include the big players where it's so obvious, like this might be fraud because this guy got $250,000 in 5 months last year. I mean,
But
it's
we
so
can provide you
obvious.
with information on how we select what what
That
payments
wasn't
we're
my
auditing.
question. It is the public is demanding answers, and everyone is deflecting, saying we're looking at them. They're all audited. How could you possibly explain someone being given that much in
If
taxpayer
it's a
subsidies?
credible, evidence, you have credible evidence that
So do
you should
It's
be,
on the fiscal.wa.gov website.
you should be going to the Attorney General's office and
He said he
or
wouldn't look into it. He said that's his client, DCYF, and they won't investigate. That's what I was told to my face. When I asked about oversight concerns, Governor Bob Ferguson refused to directly address the findings. Governor, I want to ask you, the state auditor came out this week with a report about some of the daycare overpayments and that sort of a thing, not calling it fraud, but saying they did see some things that were concerning. What is your office doing, if anything, to look into some of the very questionable payments, taxpayer subsidy payments?
I've not had a chance. We're trying to wrap up the budget process. I've not had a chance to take a look at that. I will after we're done.
As reporters, we don't file complaints or conduct investigations ourselves. Our role is to document what we find and present it to the public. From there, it is up to state agencies and elected officials to take action. However, in this case, none of those officials, from the governor's office to the state auditor to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, have been willing to dig into this issue and to expose what appears to be, if not outright fraud, something questionable going on. The Attorney General's office represents state agencies, including the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, meaning its role is to defend those agencies, not independently investigate them.
Have you had any fraud complaints come into your office?
Fraud complaints related to what?
Related to DCYF?
We all watch the news, right? There's been a lot of reports on fraud that came into our office. Most of them are what I would view as pretty baseless allegations. But we take those allegations seriously. We work with our client agencies. Every state program that gets taxpayer dollars needs to work better with those dollars and make sure that we're treating those issues seriously. That is very different in my mind from allegations of fraud, and we want to make sure that there's a distinction between allegations of criminal fraud and allegations of just how we best use our taxpayer dollars.
With millions of taxpayer dollars flowing into these programs, questions remain about whether the system is being properly monitored and whether the state is catching these problems before or after the money goes out. At this point, it seems, although state officials, agency heads are well aware of the very large questionable payouts, they're unwilling to address it and instead have suggested that reporters, including those from the center square, are out of line for asking questions and demanding answers, though we know full well taxpayers are demanding accountability, and we endeavor to keep pressing for that accountability.